It's great to be here. Thank you for the wonderful introduction and all the techie stuff as well. And I want to say welcome to everybody. It's really, I'm delighted to be spending this time with you. I have to say, I'll just get this out of the way. I'm often in awe of carers. I was going to say admire, respect. I'm often actually awed by carers and what you do and how you live your daily lives and you know, being with a role that you weren't necessarily planning or expecting from the year dot. Yeah, I can see some of you, which is delightful. Yeah, once again, if you feel comfortable to have your face seen, and even if you've got a messy, cluttered place behind you or whatever, that's I welcome that and encourage you. We can see each other. So I'm here for you to just spend a bit of time hanging out with the joys and benefits of creative exploration and expression, even if you feel that you're not the least bit creative. That's a very common self-belief. You know, I can't draw, I'm no good at this, you know, my sister's the one in the family who's good at art and I'm not, those sorts of ideas. I'm hoping that you feel comfortable to have a little bit of a play with colour or just scribbling or whatever it is this morning. And I've made a list for myself, for us, this morning I wrote the value of creativity as a resource too. So here's some of the things I think, a bit of even 10 minutes or so of creative expression, writing, creative gardening, you know, art making, singing. I think just a short burst can offer the value of creativity as a resource too. I will take a breath myself. Make space, catch your breath, reconnect with yourself, remembering you have needs. You are a human, separate human from the person you care for. To self-soothe, to ease calm, to ease anxiety, to safely release difficult thoughts or experiences, to vent, you know, go blah, 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 say, express the things that some people might regard as taboo, that you're not really given lots of space or room to say necessarily in front of the person you care for or in general in public. Value of creativity as a resource to still a busy mind, to break the cycle of round and round thinking, to clear space for problem solving, to re-energize from carer fatigue, gain fresh perspective, potentially bring a sense of achievement apart from the caring role, and to value and honour yourself. So that's quite a comprehensive list, and I've probably left out a whole lot of stuff as well. You might be able to think of other ideas about how a bit of creative expression might benefit you. So I won't be talking constantly. This is very much participatory. So I'm just introducing what we might spend time doing. So creativity is literally at your fingertips. Very accessible tool, exactly. Thank you, Ron. It can be swift. So it's even if you think you can't draw or do it. It's about as much about the process of the doing it as it is about the product, the end product. And it's like finding beauty in the everyday, creating beauty from the everyday, really important, really a vital. I'm thinking of my fingers are doing something with vital, something about vital and vitality is coming to mind. Yeah, thank you very much for offering that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be this rarefied thing, elitist, rarefied thing, the way often a lot of us have been taught to think about creativity. It can be absolutely incorporated. Yeah. So let's, if you're okay to, close your eyes. I've got, so just kind of arriving, landing, we're still arriving, landing into this space. You might have come from a really hectic, busy morning schedule. If you're okay to close your eyes for a few moments and just tune in to yourself. And letting go of a strong breath or two. Maybe a sigh, maybe a yawn, a grizzle. If you're on mute, no one else even has to hear you making really bad sounds unless you've got someone else nearby. Maybe they'll have to cope. Feeling your parts of your body that are making contact with the chair that you're sitting on, your feet on the floor. You might already be scribbling, making marks, doodling with if you've got a pen or pencil and a piece of paper nearby. Or you might not. That might feel like the furthest thing from your mind. But just letting yourself land and arrive and kind of settle with yourself. In this moment, there's nothing you have to do. It's just about being. Being here, being with yourself, with sensations in your body, thoughts, feelings. Even if they don't feel like they might be the thoughts or feelings or sensations that you're wanting, see if you can let them be okay in this moment. Maybe noticing sounds around you, sounds within you, allowing your breath to flow. You don't have to hold your breath. My age-old creativity guidelines, the Sally Swain 2 creativity guidelines that this has been the case for quite a lot of years. 1, breathe. And 2, be kind to yourself. A lot flows from those two. I have to keep reminding myself of both of them continually. Breathe, be kind to yourself. A lot of us are very practiced at being kind to others. So if you've had your eyes closed, you might want to momentarily open your eyes and grab hold of a colour, a pen, a pencil, and a piece of paper and have them in front of you. And you'll have the opportunity, if you want to then close your eyes again. We might even do a little bit of just closed eyes, kind of sensory awareness mark making, which I call sacred scribble. Just like creativity in the everyday, the things that often we take for granted or that have low status can be inhabited and given new life, such as doodling or scribbling. So you might just have a material at hand and then close your eyes again if you're okay to, and just tune into the sensations in your hands and maybe feel the paper a kind of amazing thing in itself. So letting the hand that's not holding the drawing or writing implement feel the edges of the paper, perhaps, and see if it's got if the paper even has a sound as you move your hand around it. A temperature, does the paper have a warmth or coolness to it? And a texture on your fingertips. Fingertips are very sensitive, lots and lots of nerves and bits of biology. That's my very fancy term, in your fingertips, in your hands. And the hand that's holding the drawing or writing implement, allow yourself to feel it, feel the weight or the lightness of it. And keep breathing, allowing your breath to flow. Don't have to hold your breath while you're concentrating. And maybe bringing, unless you've already started to do that, bringing the pen or pencil to the paper. And if you're okay to have your eyes closed, just allow your hand to make marks and see what your impulse is. Trust your impulse. There's room to listen to your impulse and to trust it and to follow it. It's not about perfection or making a particular type of mark. It's seeing if your hand wants to move slowly or quickly and respecting that. And noticing what sort of pressure your hand wants to use with the implement, heavy or light. See if you want to do, short, sharp, repeated marks or long, flowing, continuous marks, keeping your hand and the pen or pencil on the paper. Any of this is fine. If you have your eyes closed, you don't know what it's going to look like, and that might feel scary, or it might feel liberating, or anything in between. We'll keep going with this sacred scribble for another 5 minutes or so. It's just an opportunity to play and to re-nourish. It might be that words come out onto the paper. It might be at some stage that you do open your eyes if you have had your eyes closed. And if you do open your eyes, see if you can look with kind eyes at what's there. It won't be what you thought was going to be there, unless you have some amazing superpower. You do have an amazing superpower, but I don't know, I haven't heard of this one where someone can have their eyes closed and know exactly what they're going to draw. And it might be that if you do look at what's there with kind eyes, you feel an urge to bring another colour or to join the first one, or to keep going, or to start another piece of paper. Or even to sometimes, I mean, if you don't like what you see, and if you find you've got an inner critic kind of rearing its head, there's about 1,001 ways to respond to that. And one of the 1,001 ways is which I sometimes do, is which is to actually tear up what I've created and reassemble the pieces into something else. For some reason, that was the one of the 1001 ways that came to me right then. Another one, maybe simpler and more basic if you have inner critic stuff happening, is to go, oh, okay, I've got there's my inner critic telling me this isn't good enough or whatever that they've decided to tell you. Just notice it and come back to what you're doing. Or a critic that's saying, what the hell are you doing? You're wasting time. You should be doing, there's so many other tasks to do, blah, blah, blah. You might write down blah, blah, blah. And then come back to what you're doing. It's kind of like a meditation practice. Only I think for a lot of people, it's actually easier than sitting and meditating and on your breath or one internal thing, because there it is, you're making contact with yourself and these materials. I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes to give you even more space. So in a moment, I invite you to pause, or you might not pause, you might keep going. That's actually okay too, because it's like once you start, you might want to just keep going with this. We'll have another art making opportunity soon, and in that time, you might choose to continue with what you've begun, or you might start something afresh, but I'll guide you with that. So once again, whether you're actually pausing or whether you're keeping on going, let go of a strong breath or two. Close your eyes for a moment, feel your feet on the floor, maybe wriggle your toes, your fingers. Tune back into your body, see if there's anything that feels different in your body, pardon me, in your body or your thoughts or your feelings in the shift in the time from before you did this sacred scribble to now. Just noticing what's with you. Let's go into the next bit of connecting with, and so this is the Nourish and Flourish, or what I think of as the Nourish and Flourish, the art of self-care part of this session. Well, it's all about nourishing and flourishing, but here's an opportunity to actually consider a way that we do care for ourselves or would like to care for ourselves, something that nourishes us, and to just play with some colour again and a scribble or whatever comes out onto the paper. So if you're okay, again, you might have already had an idea as I was speaking, and that's fine if you don't. Let's, if you're okay, once again, to close your eyes, kind of grounding and centering. So maybe noticing if there's one part of your body in particular that's calling out and going, ouch, or or I'm tight, or I'm kind of uncomfortable, and sending some healing, nourishing breath to that part of you. And maybe even picturing yourself filled with and surrounded by a colour or light of nourishment and sustenance and protection. Just something that, a colour or a light that somehow feeds you and helps you feel safe. And something might come to you or something might not. You might find yourself through this entire session thinking about other stuff, and that's okay, or you might feel blank, and that's okay. It's just whatever it is, however you are, is welcome. So if you can, maybe just allow something to come to you. It might be one thing, it might be a moment from recent times that you found that you felt peaceful or calm or even a little bit joyful or just okay. Something, it might be a moment, it might be a place that you go to or that you imagine going to. It might be a person, it might be a pet, it might be an activity that you do, going for a walk. It could be a tiny little thing, something, it could have been your morning cup of tea this morning. There's something, a moment or a small thing or a big thing of self-care or self-nourishment. And it might be a piece of music. So, it could be anything. So maybe let yourself hang out with that item or experience of self-care or nourishment and see if it has a colour. See if it might have a shape or texture, sound. See if it affects you, resonates some particular part of your body or being. And when you're ready, and you might have already begun, we'll have we have, it's about 8 minutes or so. We'll have some time to put some of that onto paper. So it might be that you continue with what you had begun before and add more colours or shapes to it. It might be that to kind of make it easier, you draw a shape, an outline, just a circle, or preferably a messy circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. A circle on your paper and put colours and patterns into that circle. Or it doesn't have to be a circle. It could be like a petal shape, or and I'll do it here, like a mandala, it's actually called. It's got a fancy name, once again. Intersection of two circles. And you put something of the feeling of your self-care experience into that or outside that. Just a starting point. Doesn't have to turn into a something. It might be just that you have no idea, and you found that with the sacred scribbling you liked just doing windy lines with the colour red, and so just let yourself keep going with that. It might be, whatever makes it easy for you. There's a wonderful book, one of my many wonderful creativity books. This one's called, what's it called? Life, Paint and Passion. And in that, one of the things they say is let yourself go from the easiest to the easiest. And I find that utterly profound because I know for myself, I often don't do that. Go, what do I need to do next? What should I, so, permission to go to do what's easiest in this moment. And then if that starts to become tedious or difficult, do what's easiest in the next moment. Once again, I'll try and press my own speaking pause button for a little while. If you found that drawing with your eyes closed was actually more spacious and kind of forgiving than drawing with your eyes open, where you might have more of an expectation, maybe you'll go back to the closed eyes. So this is about you and finding some space for you, making some space for you. We'll have another couple of minutes with this. Sometimes art making is about letting yourself get messy. So a lot of us spend a lot of time trying to tidy up lives. It's like about permission, giving yourself permission to be fast, slow, messy, not messy, quiet, noisy. It's a permission giving space, if it can be art making or writing from your heart. So in a minute, I'll invite you to pause again. That might be, you might think, no way, I've only just begun. I want to dwell in this place for a little bit longer. Or you might go, whew, that's enough of that. It was never my forte, drawing. There'll be a full range of experiences, I'd say. So once again, if you are pausing or finishing this round of mark making, see if you can look at your own creation with kind eyes. And see if there might be a title for it. Maybe let it tell you its name or title, this picture, or not picture. Might not even feel like it rates being called a picture. Who knows? So let it have a title or even a special message for you. There's wisdom in our creations that flow from our heart and soul through our hands. And once again, let's hear from just a few of you. If you feel comfortable to show something, please do. If you don't, that's fine too. Perhaps if you want to just say a few words, it'd be great to hear, and if you feel okay to, a title or a message that came from your creation or from the process. I think Ron has already begun with that sharing. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. And we've got something from Amanda. Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. That's lovely. Anyone else? It can be really daggy. You might just want to tell us what your self-care thing is that you came up with. Well, we're going to head to winding up this session. Yep, thank you. So Nourish and Flourish, the art of self-care. And I'm hoping that you have been able to experience, that some of you have shared, that you've experienced art making, blurting onto paper, sacred scribbling, whatever it is, music, nature as a release or as an escape, something that can help generate hope and staying in touch with keeping hope. This has just been a little taster. There are other opportunities to experience this sort of creative play more. I've got this term that I call self-full, SELF hyphen FULL, as opposed to selfish. Because often, I feel like, oh my God, I've got, I know in my time as a carer, it's like, it feels like everything, absolutely everything's got to be for the other person. And yeah, the guilt and then therefore permission needed to actually completely, can I even completely let go of thinking about them, even for a short time? So the guilt of, so it's almost like permission to waste time. And ultimately, really, it's self-fullness and it's not time wasting. I feel passionately about that, even though I often have had to remind myself. We're going to finish. I want to thank all of you for being here and being so willing to dive into something that might have felt strange or alien or not part of your daily routine, being willing to take that risk. Really lovely to meet you and spend time with you.